I always thought those community gatherings in small towns were simple. People talking, homemade food, nothing special. I was wrong. What happened in Riverside, Ohio that night destroyed me forever. The hall was next to the old church. From the outside, it was just a square wooden building. But as soon as I walked in, I realized the energy wasn't normal. It was dense. The table was already set before everyone arrived. It was long, covered with red cloths and nicely decorated. But I noticed something strange. In the center, there was a black candle burning next to a small mirror covered by a dark cloth, and goblets filled to the brim with a dark wine that looked like coagulated blood. Sarah Collins, a resident I had seen a few times, came to me with a frozen smile. Her eyes didn't blink. I tried to greet her, but she just grabbed my arm and led me to the center of the table, as if that was my reserved place. Dinner started the way I expected. Conversations about the weather, crops, trivial things. But every minute, the noise faded. First the laughs, then the clinking of silverware, until there was nothing but silence. Sarah stood up. With her right hand raised, she began reciting phrases in Latin. I didn't understand a word, but her tone made it clear. It wasn't a prayer, it was an invocation. The ceiling lights flickered, and I saw people's shadows moving on their own. Suddenly, Sarah stopped speaking. The silence was so heavy, I could hear my heart pounding inside my chest. Then came the sound of breathing. It wasn't from anyone at the table. It came from somewhere above it. In the corner of the hall, the dark stain began to form. At first, it looked like smoke, but soon it took shape. Long arms, a twisted body, and bluish eyes glowing in the dark. It looked straight at me. The air suddenly turned cold. Every breath felt like ice burning my lungs. I looked around, expecting panic, but all the residents remained calm. It was as if they had been waiting for this. Next to me, Mr. Thompson, a frail old man, started convulsing. He clenched his teeth so hard that some broke instantly. Blood dripped down his chin, but he didn't stop. His mouth opened, and a hoarse voice that wasn't human came out. "You called us. We came." I jumped to my feet, but Sarah dug her fingers into my arm. Her strength was absurd, like she had the force of 10 men. She leaned close to my ear and calmly said, "Don't fight. It seems they chose you." Meanwhile, other shapes crawled out of the walls and ceiling. They looked like human shadows, but with limbs stretched too far. One of them dropped from the ceiling, like a four-legged animal, and crept under the table. I heard laughter. It wasn't human. It was sharp, mixed, like many voices speaking at the same time. The goblets of wine started rising on their own, toasting in the air. The liquid inside bubbled as if it were boiling. The smell in the room changed. It was no longer food. Now it was iron, sulfur, and rotten meat. I didn't want to breathe anymore, but I had no choice. My stomach turned and the dizziness only got worse. One of the creatures crawled out from under the table and came up to me. Its face was deformed. It opened its mouth and dragged its rough tongue across my face. My skin burned as if dipped in acid. I tried to scream, but Sarah covered my mouth with her hands so hard she nearly tore my jaw off. The metallic taste of blood ran down my throat. Then one of the men at the table, with completely black eyes, stood up holding a kitchen knife. He didn't hesitate. He stabbed the blade into my shoulder. The pain was so brutal, I lost my breath. I thrashed, but others held me down. Strong hands pinned my arms and legs. Even my head was forced against the table. I felt sharp nails scratching my neck, leaving deep cuts. Blood dripped down my body, and some laughed as they dipped their fingers in it and licked them clean. More voices started speaking at the same time. Some inside my head, others outside. The creatures surrounded me, licking the blood that flowed. I felt their rough tongues sliding over my open wounds, making the pain even worse. The whole table shook. Plates fell to the ground and shattered. Something crawled under my feet. I felt claws raking up my legs. One of the entities leaned over me. Its face opened into several small mouths, all filled with sharp teeth. Each mouth bit into a piece of my skin. I screamed, but the Latin chanting drowned it out. Then, I felt something forcing its way inside me, like it was pushing through my ribs. My bones started to crack, expanding beyond what was natural. A searing pain tore through me, and I heard the sound of my own ribs breaking. The residents laughed, raising their goblets high. Now I understood. The wine wasn't just wine. It was mixed with blood. Some of them drank while staring directly at me, wide smiles on their faces, as if they were celebrating my destruction. My vision started to fail. I saw shadows everywhere, stabbing me, tearing my body apart. Blood poured from my mouth, eyes, and nose. My body was no longer mine. Before I blacked out, I saw the larger creature, the first one that appeared, moving closer. It drove its claws into my chest and ripped me open at once. I felt every inch tearing, every nerve exploding in pain. I screamed until I couldn't anymore, and the moment my voice disappeared, everything went silent. Only the sound of goblets clinking together in a macabre toast remained. My last sight was the creature plunging its hand inside my open chest and raising my bloody heart into the air, as if it were the true main course of that night. After that, there was only darkness.